Okay, this is video number 5 for Box Seat Baseball Under the Hood version. The last video we talked about hits and how a batter's card may have a hit opportunity, and then how you determine if it really is a hit. And the process we talked about, for instance, if we have a white-black die combination of 53, a green-red of 85, and a -3 on the pitcher die. So 53 on Jimmy Wynn's card is a single, 1. So just think of it as a single for now. And then we look at his hit number, which is up above that column, and against a right-handed batter, or excuse me, a right-handed pitcher, like Tom Seaver, his hit number is 73. So any green-red combination, 73 to 99, is going to be a hit. And so in this case, Wynn's going to get the single. Now, if this green-red combination was 25, 25 is not higher than 73, so it would not be an automatic hit for Wynn. However, that's when you look at the pitcher die, and in this case, it's a -3. Go to Seaver, and against a right-handed batter, he has nothing in that column next to the -3 row, which means he does not block the hit, and Wynn gets the hit. So the first thing you're going to look at is the green-red. If it's higher than Wynn's hit number, equal to or higher than Wynn's hit number, it's a hit. If that's not the case, then you go to the pitcher die, and in this case, that -3 means it's going to be a hit. If it were a -2, and no one were on base, then it would still be a hit because it says batter. But if it were a -2 and there were runners on base, after the slash you see LO1, this is part of Tom Seaver being able to prevent runs by not allowing as many hits with runners on base. So that LO1 means that Wynn would line out instead of getting the hit. So that is the basic hit process. But then there are some different situations where batters can get hits in other ways, or hits could be taken away. And I want to walk you through a few of those. So I've got a few of Wynn's teammates here from the 1974 Dodgers: Davey Lopes, Steve Garvey, who was the NL MVP that year, and then I've got Charlie Huff, who's a pitcher. And he didn't have a lot of at-bats that year, only 12, and never got a hit. But I want to show you how the game handles a situation like his, where his chance of a hit is very unlikely. So we're going to start with Lopes. You're going to look at Lopes' hit numbers over on the right side of the screen here. And his hit number against right-hander is 76. That's the number that's not in parentheses. And then he's got another number, 76, that's in parentheses. So what does that mean? Okay, Lopes, if you look where it says SP, you're going to see a -3. So Lopes and all of the players in Box Seat Baseball, all of the batters, are rated for their effectiveness with runners in scoring position. And they're rated from -3 to +3. A -3 is not a good rating. A +3 is an excellent rating. And so this is designed to handle players who hit better with men on base, who maybe drove in more runs than their stats would have indicated potentially, or not. And if you look at Lopes, he had about a 300, a little below a 300 average, and he had 10 home runs, but he only had 35 RBIs. So he did not drive in a lot of runs. And so this card is engineered so that he won't drive in a lot of runs in the game either, by preventing hits with runners in scoring position. So that 76 in parentheses, think of it as the reverse of the hit number. If there are runners in scoring position and the red and the green-red die combination is 76 or higher, then instead of getting a hit like he would if there were no runners in scoring position, he is going to make an automatic out. And that is how the game would handle a player who didn't do well with runners in scoring position, to prevent him from getting some of those hits. So if we go to the numbers up here again, 53 against a righty, single 2 on a ground ball single. The only distinction there would be if it's a range play, you're going to check an infielder instead of an outfielder because it's a ground ball. But forget that for now. So single two on a ground ball. I'm going to change this back to an 85. So if there were nobody on base or nobody in scoring position, that would be a hit for Lopes because the 85 is higher than his 76 outside the parentheses. But let's say Jimmy Wynn were on second base and he's in scoring position and you roll that 85, Lopes is now going to be out because the number in parentheses always overrides the number not in parentheses. And in this case, they're the same, so it's a little bit easier to distinguish. If you look at him against lefties, his hit number is 68. His scoring position out number is 80. So if you rolled that 85 and he were facing a lefty, it would be an out because it's bigger than 80. But if it were 75, regardless of the base situation, it would still be a hit because it's between his automatic hit number and his automatic scoring position out number. So the 75 would still be a hit, even with runners in scoring position. So he makes an out if the number is higher than 76 and there are runners in scoring position. What kind of out would it be? Well, you look at this 5 and you see that the second number of the green-red combination is a 5. So you're going to take that up to this little chart here that says special situations outs, and the die is a 5, so it's going to be a long fly 2. So that's the way you tell what type of out it is when the batter essentially blocks his own hit with a runner in scoring position, like Lopes did there. Now, the converse of that is a guy like Garvey. Garvey had 111 RBIs. That's probably the biggest reason why he won the MVP that year, because back then, if you had a lot of RBIs, he might not have led the league, actually, but he certainly had a lot. If you had a lot of RBIs, you were more likely to be an MVP. So in Garvey's case, 53, again, is a single one. His hit number against a righty is 68. The green-red is 85. It's a hit. But go over to his 36 result against a righty, and you're going to see PU1 and then hyphen SPH. Garvey, because his scoring position rating is 1, so he did better with runners in scoring position than on average. He's going to have an opportunity to get a hit when there are runners in scoring position. And in this case, it is a... we'll determine what it is. But if there's no runners in scoring position, he's going to pop up. He's going to make an out. But if there are runners in scoring position, he is going to get a hit because he gets credit for extra hits. So the 68 would cover situations when there are no runners in scoring position. This SPH will mean an additional opportunity to get a hit. So if there are runners in scoring position, Garvey would get a hit. And we need to figure out what kind of hit. So there's a chart, scoring position hit chart right here. And you're going to re-roll the white and the black dice. So let's just say they end up 53 again, just to make it simple. So go over to Garvey, and above his hit number, it says norm for normal. Above the lefty, it says power. So hitters can be rated either weak, normal, or power. Weak hitters don't hit a lot of long balls. Normal, a decent amount. Power, guys that hit a good number of doubles and homers. So you're going to roll the white and the black dice, and you're going to look at in the appropriate row, which for Garvey is the normal row. You've got your 53, and it says DB2, so it's a double. So Garvey will get a double with runners in scoring position in this case. One of the things that's kind of cool about this is if you look at the weak line, if you were to roll a 66, a weak power hitter would still hit a home run. And that could even be a case where a hitter who doesn't have a home run on the season gets a home run. And that's something that some people don't like. Some people, if a batter did not hit any home runs during the year, they would not want the batter to hit a home run in the replay, and that's fine. I don't mind it. I don't want them to hit 10, but I wouldn't mind if they hit 1. And so here's the one case where a batter who has to be good with runners in scoring position gets a reading off of this chart with a 66, and they would hit a home run and drive in a couple of runs at least, because there would be runners in scoring position by definition. So that's how you use this chart. And I'll explain some of these things in more detail in future videos, but I want you to see how the hit check works. So this is a card where you just have a straight hit number. This is a card where you have a hit number and a scoring position out number. This is a card where you have a hit number and you have additional opportunities to get hits with runners in scoring position. Let's take the last case, Charlie Hough. 12 at bats, never got a hit. Batting average is 0. So can he get a hit in this game? Well, the answer is yes, he can, but it's very unlikely. And you're going to have to look at, a few spots on his card. In this case, 53 is not one of them, but let's say we rolled a 54 against Seaver, and you have a single chance there. Okay, so he's got a few hits on his card, and more likely than not, he's not going to get a hit against Tom Seaver. So the game has a way to prevent that. If you look at where his hit number would be, instead of a 2-digit number, you see a 0.0 with the decimal in the middle. Okay, and obviously he's a weak hitter in terms of power. Okay, when you have a hitter who has this instead of a hit number, instead of a 2-digit hit number, you're going to go to another chart, and it's called the low average batter hit check chart. Okay, so any batter who has a rating from 0.0 to 4.0 instead of a hit number will have to re-roll on this chart to determine whether he can get a hit or not. And you're going to be able to check against the pitcher's card. And so a good pitcher is going to be able to block hits pretty well. So with Hough, he's in the 0.0 column. And let's say we rolled our favorite 53 again and take a look down the 0.0 column. That's going to be a 2. So you take that 2 and you bring it over to the pitcher's card. And in his 2 row on the hit rating matrix against a right-handed batter, which Charlie Hough is, and you have LF2. So Seaver is going to block this potential hit, and turn it into a long flyout. So Hough, got the bat on the ball, got it up in the air, but it's going to be caught and he's going to be out. And that's a way that these weak hitters, mainly pitchers, or guys that have very poor platoon splits, the lefty batter who can't hit lefties well and has a very low hit ratio against left-handed pitchers, can avoid getting hits. And so in the case of Hough, where it's 0.0, the pitcher symbols, the only potential pitcher symbols are 0, 1, 2, and 3, and Seaver blocks all of them. So it's impossible for Hough to get a hit against Seaver, but he could get a hit against a pitcher who didn't have the strength that Seaver does in terms of blocking hits. There are some pitchers whose hit matrix is just about empty, and in that case, Hough would have a small chance to get a hit. So these are some different situations in terms of hit ratings and hit situations. So I wanted to go through those with you. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about home runs and home run chances through what's called a deep fly check, which is one of my favorite aspects about the game. So we'll talk to you soon.